Welcome, everybody. We're live. Wow, August 29 in the year 2023. The summer is over. The summer is over. But we're still here. We're still live. We're live. We're live. We're live. We're live. Let's sing. Let's enjoy. Let's come together as a family. Hey, ah, hey. Listen to this music and you don't get a lift from it, a sense of going upward. I don't know, there might be something wrong with you. Don't look at the hippies, just listen to the sound, listen to what they're producing. It's amazing. This is also referred to as kirtan music in the Buddhist circles. Kirtan music, it's done with a harmonium, and it looks like similar percussions, little, tapping devices and everything. You know? You don't have to know what the words are, it's just, it really floats, I love it. Primitive tribal craft. We love them. They're down there in Mexico in the third world. Remember the third world? Or are we in the third world? I think we are. So I'll play that later. Good morning, everybody. Mark Sconti reporting. How the hell are you, man? How are you? Oh, my God. Donald Trump. We got to talk about him again. Donald Trump is the center of the upcoming election interference rigged by the government, and they are under the allegation of Trump was involved in election interference. It is funny how the media is reporting it. Check out my thumbnail, right? So I lifted this from MSNBC, and the paid commentators over there are promoting the idea that listen to the way they phrase it. Trump federal election interference trial, right, set for March 4. Now, is that about election interference, or is it election interference, the actual trial itself? Right? You're saying that Trump interfered with an election way back when because he said a couple of things in the last election that you didn't like. And people converged on that idea at the Capitol and they reacted. Right? And you're calling that election interference. But that was 4 years ago. What we're talking about is the current election interference. By dragging a former American president who's running for re-election into the criminal justice system, accusing him of election interference 4 years ago, the day before Super Tuesday, right? Super Tuesday is March 5 of 2024. So as we approach the new election, all you're going to hear about is Trump being thrown in jail. Trump is going to be sitting in a courtroom listening to garbage while there's an election going on. And he's supposed to be out there campaigning. So since Joe Biden has nothing to offer, the Democrats are fully co-opted by corporate America. The only way to stop Trump, in my view, the only option in this election would be to reinstate Trump, flatten out the curve, make all these ridiculous indictments, and frivolous uses of the law go away. And the people that did it also just go away. Don't prosecute them, just make them go away. It's a big joke. More than half the country already sees the trial of Donald Trump as election interference. It's not about election interference. Can you see the difference? Stop for 1 second and swallow the difference. The trials coming up regarding Donald Trump, the former president of the United States running for re-election, those trials trying to criminalize him are not about election interference. They are election interference. See, one side is it's a reverse psychology, right? And American government does it well to gaslight the American people into believing that what they're seeing is actually the opposite. So we'll look at some of the MSNBC paid hands try to define and defend that what's happening to Trump is very legal and very official and necessary. And it's not a coincidence of the timing that it happens to be on the day before Super Tuesday, the day before the people go to the polls and vote. Joe Biden will be, if he's still alive, if Joe Biden can still sew together a sentence in a year and a half. Here's what I think will happen with Joe Biden. This is my thought on it. If Joe Biden has a senior moment on camera, and I mean to the degree of Mitch McConnell. If you remember the Mitch McConnell clip we saw, Mitch McConnell was out there talking to the press. He was doing a press conference, and he was talking about how everybody had such, everybody's coming together, and I think we have an agreement. And then all of a sudden, he went totally silent. He just went, duh. And he was staring into the camera, and he didn't know where he was. Until somebody had to come over to him and say, "Hey, Mitch, do you have anything else to say to the press?" And he was like, "Huh?" And he said, "Would you like to go back to your room?" Yeah. And Mitch McConnell walked away, right, without ever finishing his statement. It was a complete and utter senior moment, right? Call it Alzheimer's, call it whatever. It's a senior moment. We get old. We get our minds stop if we stop engaging it. The mind will stop before the body if you stop exercising the mind. But the point is that if Joe Biden has one of these moments before the election in front of the American people and the media can't stop it, if it's something that happens live, like at a live press conference with all the cameras rolling, especially like Fox, if he has one of those moments, I think that's about the only deal breaker, where he goes totally blank, right? And it shows you that he's two things. He's not capable of being the current president, and re-electing him is utter ridiculous. So Trump is going to basically be running against a dead and or senile guy, right? And so you've got to vilify him. It is intense. It is designed to scare you, right? None of these charges are going to stick. Trump's not going to it's all frivolous. No jury in their right mind could, and certainly no Supreme Court could possibly uphold any of this garbage. These conspiracy theories, these flawed legal theories about how Trump conspired to defame and defraud the American public. This is ridiculous. But it works because you see how it works. The trial is a smokescreen, a interference mechanism. It's like a clip in football. They're clipping Trump to get him to sit in court and listen to garbage, and then go out on the trail and try to be happy about it and be positive about it, rather than just talking about himself. So that's what we're up against. And also, what better way? It looks like COVID-19 is back. It's better than ever. And in New York City, they're already complaining about hospitals being too full. So in a year from now, people are going to start getting sick again. Why? Because right now they're panicked, they're overworked, they're underpaid, they're living in fear, right, that they're not going to have enough to get by. Right? And coming out of the last COVID-19 lockdown, a lot of people didn't find that so bad. People who had nothing elevated. Right? They were suddenly taken care of. They were allowed to stay home. They got checks. They got bumps up in their food stamps and their Medicaid and whatever. And but the people who had stuff kind of lost it a little bit. Right? And so the perfect storm coming into the next presidential election in November of 2024 is twofold. One is create the illusion that the government is going after and or trying to stop election interference and COVID-19 new lockdowns because you don't want to die, do you? Put your mask on, stay at home, and consume the garbage cable news where Trump is the fucking enemy of the world. Right? That's how they're going to do it. It's a double pump, right? And it's designed to stop you from thinking, make you afraid of being involved in election fraud. Anything Trump is, you must be for tax evasion. You must be for rioting and election interference, right? And it negates all of the evidence on the table. Joe Biden right now, I have a clip that I'm going to talk about. He used a pseudonym, a fake name, in over 5,000 emails as vice president, talking to his son about very, very specific American strategy in foreign regions. And for that, Hunter Biden was gathering money and funneling it back to Dada in many ways. And what? Joe Biden is on the record saying I had no involvement with Hunter Biden. But it turns out that Hunter Biden was actually the spearhead of the shakedown operation that Biden was running. So we have a deeply corrupt political entity. And many, many politicians who are defending that because they're also involved in it. That's how they make their money. That's how politicians make their money. They peddle influence. Right? Now, you don't like that? You don't like that idea that politicians peddle influence and make hundreds of millions of dollars by doing it? What do you think? They just run because they run for elected office because they like you and they want to be heroic and patriotic? No, they do it for their own gain. Trump, on the other hand, had his money, although Trump is an opportunist, no doubt. But for the most part, a lot of Trump's efforts are for the people to bring back manufacturing to this country and such. So don't lose track of all that stuff. And we'll talk about these fascinating subjects. That's my thumbnail with straight face. MSNBC is lining up to defend the federal charges against Trump as election interference trial. But really what the trial is election interference itself. And that's that's the point I want to drive home today. My name is Marcus Conte. I have a website. Every morning we're live on YouTube until YouTube says you're not allowed to speak anymore, which is coming. We know that's coming. And there's nothing you can do about it, right? What are you going to do about it? Cry about it? So the spin, right? I refuse to swallow their garbage. Therefore, people like myself will be pushed to the perimeter. So just be ready for it. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. I speak my mind. I speak the truth, and whatever that is what it is. And today, it appears to be what I just said. But anyway, you can support the program through PayPal, Patreon, also through Zelle at shorthappylife@gmail.com. And thank you. Just join us every morning at 9 a.m. like these fine people right here. We got Vinny DiMartini on the wrench. This is recorded live in front of a studio audience. Weevil Girl is here. Kaz Philly Camden is here. TJ as well. Zitsit Cooter in the house. Snake, Jim Gerard, good morning. Good morning, everybody. And Chris Milk and everybody else that's here and lurking. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the live stream. Let's start here. So, as I said, National Archives has over 5,000 Biden emails in which he used fake names to dish government info to Hunter, others as VP. So, National Archives, right? 5,000 emails they have those emails. Let's read. The National Archives and Record Administration has admitted that it's in possession of nearly 5,400 emails, electronic records, and documents that potentially show President Biden using a pseudonym during his vice presidency. It was revealed on Monday. So that was yesterday. NARA confirmed the existence of the trove in response to a Freedom of a FOIA request. The request asked for emails pertaining to accounts of Robin Ware, Robert L. Peters, and J.R.B. Warr, pseudonyms the 80-year-old president was known to use in the White House during his time as President Obama's vice president. So you want to know how they were doing it. How are they communicating? They're communicating through pseudonym. Right? Joe Biden creates a fake name. He's talking to his son, and they're having a conversation. The same could be said about how they stash the money, how the money comes in. It doesn't go directly into Joe Biden's pocket or Hunter Biden's pocket. It goes into some shell account down in Panama, for example, or in Ireland, or in the Bahamas, wherever the shell fake business is. Right? A company, an adversary, someone who's trying to get a favor from the American government through Joe Biden. Hunter Biden says, well, if you invest in this company down there in Panama, company doesn't exist. It's bullshit. It's just paper. And, $10 million entered into that company, and then slowly it's siphoned out through whatever. But somehow it gets back to Biden. All you got to do is follow the money trail. If you have Biden's deposit information, right? If he has $100 million, how did he get the $100 million? Where is the depository trail? Where did it come from? Right? And if you trail it, you'll find, well, it just came from some company down in Panama, or some company who deals with some company down in Panama. And you'll see how the trail will ultimately lead back to, in this case, the Ukraine, Chinese oligarchs, whoever was paying Hunter Biden. But you see, the new revelation is that Joe Biden was clearly using synonyms to hide his identity when he's communicating with his son about very, very sensitive American information, right? Quid pro quo, right? Influence peddling. That's what they're involved in. That's what all these politicians are involved in. And, right, so if Trump wins, Trump knows it. Trump was saying it all along. In fact, Trump led the charge to expose Joe Biden in the Ukraine with his son, with the Hunter Biden laptop situation. And the then president of Ukraine, Zelensky, who sided with Trump. And you see what happened to him, right? When Zelensky sided with Trump and said, I don't know what's going on, he just asked a simple question. And the Democrats laid into him. Democrats destabilized Zelensky and Ukraine. And what happened? Russia flooded in like water. And there was no more Ukraine. Now it's Russia. Well, that's because of jerk-offs like Joe Biden and his money-grabbing son. That's one of the fundamental problems in America to get money out of politics, to make all of this bribery. That's precisely what it is. Using your position, you take money, you use your position. Right? So that's what the whole cover is. Right? Mainstream media won't talk about it in that context because they like this guy. They like Biden. They make money with Biden. They think that Biden represents some sort of racially equal or financially equal world. It's just simply not true. He's taking money, as much money as he can with his position, putting it in his pocket, selling that influence off to whoever wants it. Oh, in Ukraine, Burisma, you need a deal. All right, well, just give us the money and you'll get your deal. That's what these guys are doing. That's not in the interest of the American people at all. It's in their own self-interest. So that's breaking. And COVID-19, Lincoln Kareem put together a nice clip, the beginning part of it, of his video, and it talks about the new COVID-19 scare coming up. Now, I had said and predicted a long time ago that during the COVID-19 pandemic, that this will be reoccurring. Not so much that the lockdowns and the way it was done will reoccur. What I'm saying is people will get sick. During the pandemic, people were allowed to relax just a little bit. They calmed down a little bit. They were allowed to stay home. They rested. They reacquainted themselves with their families, their dogs, their neighborhood, their friends. Right? For the most part, they did. They were able to take a breath because they were getting very sick. The American go-go machine ramps up. Go, go, go. Make more. Right? When that starts to happen again, people get overworked and they get sick. Right? So that's where you are right now. You have people running around trying to make ends meet, willing to work 70 and 80 hours a week and not make enough of what they think they need, and they get sick again. Right? And COVID-19 is right there waiting for you. Right? These are manufactured viruses. They seem to all be coming out of laboratories somewhere, right along with a vaccine. Right? And so the next phase of I don't even know what it is, but it's the next wave of confusion is going to involve election interference at a grand scale where people are so frightened to even speak about it because they think they're going to end up like Trump, thrown in jail and accused of interfering with an election when actually they're trying to stop the election interference. And you couple that with massive COVID-19 scare, right? And you've got the perfect storm for an election rig. Let's listen to this little report about COVID-19 coming.
According to CDC estimates, the EG.5 COVID variant was responsible for a little more than 20% of COVID-19 cases in the U.S. at the end of the third week of August, more than any other strain.
This new variant, this EG.5 variant, which is highly transmissible, it's in central New York, it's in upstate New York, it's the predominant variant around the country right now.
According to Yale Medicine,
so they've already got their disease identified, right? They know what it is. It's coming, and you're going to get it, and you better get that new vaccine because the old one doesn't work. And they're going to start the whole frenzy again about separating people between who gets the injection that is clearly causing vaccine injury. We now know that myocarditis is happening, and other things too that we're not really aware of. But the psychological breakdown of people dependent on vaccines, dependent on medical supervision. These people are breaking down. They're going to break down again because they need that vaccine. They need that shot. But here we go again, right? The new COVID is coming. People are starting to break down. They're worried. They're fearful, and they're going to get locked down again. And what are they going to see? They're going to see the trial of Donald J. Trump, the great election interferer. Right? What a play. Right? What a script written by the American government. It's like Hollywood. Right? It's a fascinating fucking story. Is it a real story? Well, it's about real people. It's really happening. Right? It's a real story. And it's the story the way I tell you it's the story. The story is the way I'm telling it to you, not the other way around.
The EG.5 variant has a new mutation in its spike protein that can potentially evade some immunity people have gotten from having COVID or a vaccination. The World Health Organization has classified it as a variant of interest, meaning countries should monitor it more closely than others because of mutations that could make it more contagious or severe.
The number of people being admitted to the hospital for COVID illness is increasing.
Okay.
2, the number of staff that are out of work because of COVID illness is increasing.
So there you go. People are getting sick again. That's I believe that. I don't dispute that people are getting sick again. Right? And again, when people get overworked and stressed out, they're very vulnerable to illness, because they don't know what to do with the anxiety and the sorrow and the fear and the doubt. They're overwhelmed by it. And then COVID steps right in, or whatever it is, a flu, a virus, and gets you even more sick. Right? That's just the reality. I haven't been sick in a long, long time. Hopefully I'll keep doing what I'm doing and prove that the opposite is true. Take care of yourself, right? We're laughing at the hippies singing on the beach, but maybe that's what we need to do. We need to stop fussing and fighting. Right? So let's a little more about COVID.
According to New York State's COVID-19 hospitalization summary, there have been an increase of 282 COVID-related hospitalizations from the beginning of August to August 18th. But is this strain more severe than others?
We really do not have an answer, a definitive answer to that right now.
What we do know is a vaccine is coming later this year that can attack this variant.
The vaccine is coming later this year to attack the variant. There you go. A year from now, right? So right around the time of approaching the Super Tuesday, next summer is going to be all about elections, leading into March. Actually, the elections start in March. The primaries, I guess. Super Tuesday, Super Tuesday. But anyway, you can see how the dates are going to line up. You're going to see COVID-19, everybody get their vaccine. And if you know they're promoting vaccines, what else are they going to promote? They're going to promote the 6-foot distance from one another. They're going to promote the masked hysteria all over again as a means to keep you safe from the other person who's bad and is going to get you sick. And as Joe Biden says, they want to kill me. What do you think? I'm going to sit around and let them kill me? That's what he said about people who refuse a vaccine based on the science. They're going to kill me. How? They don't know what they're talking about. They don't listen to the doctors. They don't listen to the science. Right? So government is going to force you, again, to get a shot, to wear a mask, to stay 6 feet away from each other, to shut down your business if you have one, and sit at home in your fucking room and watch cable news and watch Rachel Maddow and MSNBC and CNN and the Washington Post and the New York Times spin the high fucking hell out of a stupid, irrelevant prosecution of an American president and grossly spin the evidence surrounding COVID. A little more on COVID.
New vaccine, the CDC is, that was suggested by the CDC, which will be available sometime at the end of September, will be pretty close, the closest vaccine possible to what's currently circulating.
Justin Velasquez, Spectrum News.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I'm just looking at the futures. Give it to me. And we can't get all right. So I'm looking at the futures right now. S&P 500 looks like it's going to open up a point Dow up 8, NASDAQ up down 8. So it looks like kind of a flat. We're open right now. There we go. So we're open, and then we'll talk about Trump. We are open 9:30 New York time. Apple down 50 cents. Google up $1.50. NVIDIA down 3. Amazon up 0.5 cent. Meta down 1.5. Microsoft down 1.5. Tesla down 50 cents, 80 cents, excuse me. And let's see about how the military industrial complex stocks. What the hell is that? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Ah! I don't know what that was, man. It scared me. This came from out of nowhere. Yeah, so that was a continuation of a video. So it looks like NASDAQ just clicked down 20. Welcome everybody, we're live. We're breaking down here. Hold on a second. Let me get August 29 in the year 2023. The summer is. I'm sorry about that. All my clips are going wild. So again, we have it looks like a kind of a flat open right now. Nothing spectacular. Wall Street News. I was wondering if the pharmaceutical industrial complex stocks got hit because Biden is pushing a reduction in prices on certain drugs. Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna are all up on this news. You can't make it up. So the Biden administration this morning revealed the first 10 drugs for which Medicare will negotiate prices. And if you think that that right now Medicaid is not allowed to negotiate with Big Pharma for medication for people who need it, or at least think they need it. And so they charge whatever the fuck they want. Right? Now, in one respect, it's actually a victory for Big Pharma in that it assures that government will buy their crap, right? But not at the high price that they've been charging. But look at some of the drugs. I think it's rather fascinating, all of these substances that are on the market and pushed on people with, I don't know, basic symptoms like, I don't know, fucking diabetes. Diabetes is something that is 100% reversible. 100% reversible, right? The person who is ideal body weight, who exercises, who takes the sun, who's out and drinks a lot of water and has a very low stress life, does not have diabetes. It can't survive, nor can things like high blood pressure. High blood pressure doesn't exist in healthy people. Diabetes doesn't exist in healthy people. And you might say, well, that's a contradiction. They're sick and they need to get healthy. No. They're sick because they're not healthy. They're not taking care of themselves. So we got this kind of a reverse psychology in America right now. Right? But look at some of the drugs. Eliquis, to thin your blood. Right? You need that. Jardines, a diabetes drug by Eli Lilly. Exerloto, a blood thinner by Bayer. Januvia, diabetes med from Merck. Fargexka, a diabetes treatment. Entresto, heart failure treatment. You're going to need that because they keep pumping people with the vaccine. Ernesto stocks up. Enbrel, Embruvivir. Right? What the fuck are these things, right? These are just, look at this one. Sterala, right? None of these things. What happens if people would take advice, for example, from the primal tribal fucking guys, singing on the beach and having sex and enjoying their life, jumping in the ocean, right? If people would take that path, all of these things would go away. I bet you if you go down to the beach in Mexico where those cats are singing, you're not going to find diabetes. You're not going to find high blood pressure. You're not going to find any stress, any disease in any one of those bodies. All right. And what would happen to Merck, Bayer, Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson if that were the case? they would go fucking bankrupt. Right? What are they going to do? Go back to selling vitamin pills? Right? So anyway, so let's talk about Trump. Federal judge sets March trial date in Trump's election interference case. Now, when you read that headline, right, it occurs to me that what I see is the case itself is election interference. It's the election interference case, right? We have a case so that we can cause election interference with Trump. You see how that's actually what it is? It's not about election interference. Those are wild conspiracy theories. What is factual is your efforts to try a case before an election against one of the candidates is election interference. But that's not how the media is going to spin it, because that's not where their money comes from. The judge overseeing former President Donald Trump's election interference case in federal court set a trial date for March 4. Right? That's a day before Super Tuesday. U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan's decision sets the trial in the middle of the Republican presidential primaries and the day before Super Tuesday. Hey, all right. This is what election interference is. This is what it looks like. You don't have to dig very deep. People want some deep, fucking mysterious, nefarious election interference that's done in the bowels of the deep state. No, my friends, it's done right in front of your face, right out in the open. Have a trial where Donald Trump is the villain. Why not? Why stop at one trial? Let's have 4 all at once and vilify and occupy and shut down Trump's mojo, Trump's momentum, and let the dead guy, fucking Biden, who can't even sew a sentence together anymore and might be completely fucking senile by the time the thing even rolls around. Let's push him over the finish line and spend all our energy vilifying Trump. So at a hearing Monday, Judge Chutkan, heard arguments from Trump's lawyers. All right, so they argued back and forth. They are now convinced that they're not convinced. Let me change that. The script is now confirmed. Right? The script is now confirmed. It's not a theory anymore. The script is that the Democrats in power, under Joe Biden, under Merrick Garland, and whoever else is contributing all the lower hanging fruit, like Judge Chutkan, Fannie Willis, Alvin Bragg, Jack Smith, all of these people, right, are Democratic operatives. They're government operatives working to silence the opposition. That's what it is, right? Will Trump ever go to jail for any of this? Who knows, right? But is the effect effective? Go after Trump, accuse him of election interference. It's a masterful play because it creates fear in anybody who gets near Trump. Low information people will say, well, maybe I shouldn't support Trump. He's going to jail. I don't want to support a criminal. You see how it works? It's perception. So let's watch the spin. Styx Hexenhammer seems to agree. Let's listen to Styx spin it. Loving Styx Hexenhammer this year. Subscribe if you're not subscribing. I'm subscribed.
All right, everyone. Judge Chutkan has decided to set a trial date for Donald Trump. It happens to be the day before Super Tuesday of next year. We're asked to believe that this is a coincidence. The judge is impartial and there's nothing odd going on. It's just the date that she happened to choose. She picked it out of a hat, I suppose. It just happens to be the day before Super Tuesday. I'll tell you this. This is an Obama-appointed judge, so the former boss of the guy currently in charge who Trump will be presumptively running against, with ties to Hunter Biden, to certain Marxist groups, and who allegedly donated, actually, to Joe Biden, actually, at one point. is setting the trial date for one of the many indictments at this point that Trump is under.
I like Sticks. I like his coverage of this so far. Very, very poignant. Very spot on. Thank you, Sticks.
Can I please make a suggestion to the judges involved in these cases, since it's so transparent that election interference is what you're actually engaged in right now? Why don't the three judges in these cases set dates for appearances, not necessarily like first trial appearance, but trial appearances in general, to coincide on exactly the same day at exactly the same time, so that it's physically impossible for Donald Trump to show up for them all, and then just fucking jail him for contempt of court? Why don't you just do that, get it over with, show your ass, because you've already basically shown it.
Right. Great point, man. Just throw him in jail already. Nobody, it's not like anybody's going to change their mind. The people who love Trump are going to see it as election interference, and the people who hate Trump are going to see it as election interference being taken care of. So it's fucking crazy, right? Just throw him in jail.
Is there any moron out there that doesn't have a D after their name, or a deep-seated partisan or ideological loyalty, or the severest TDS you could possibly conjure, that believes at this point that this is not effectively an attempt to interfere in the U.S. election? You say that you're defending democracy. All I see you is denigrating it. It's beyond excuse. There is no possible explanation for why Judge Chutkan would choose the day before Super Tuesday for this case, unless it was specifically to have the debacle of Trump in court, getting reamed, and having to appear there, taken off the campaign trail 24 hours before the voting begins. Right. There is no other explanation.
None. There's no other explanation to why they're doing it. So we know they're doing it. Here's a very smart guy, Six X and Hammer, million subscribers, right? People love him. He's telling you his lights are on. Is he making it up? No. This is what he sees, and he's calling it.
A reasonable individual would never suspect that that was coincidence, because it's beyond coincidence. It literally makes no sense. And by the way, to everyone out there, that's the point. The point is that the system right now wants to scare you. That's right. It wants to show you what can happen to you and me if we step out of line. This is bigger than being about fucking Donald Trump. Most of these charges won't stick in the end, even with a sympathetic jury. That's
Sticks Hexenhammer predicting that none of the charges will stick anyway, even with a sympathetic jury. I agree with that. I don't think they could stick. And if they do, they'll quickly be overturned in a higher court, namely the Supreme Court. Because it's dealing with an ex-president and a current election, the case will be moved very quickly to Supreme Court and overturned. So I agree with Sticks on that one.
It's not what it's about. It's about showing you, hey, if you step out of line and you go against the grain in any way, and we haven't told you that you're allowed to do so as a sort of court jester, like a Bernie Sanders or something like that, we will castigate and crucify you legally, and there's not a whole lot you can do. We can be as arbitrary as we want.
Yep.
We can deliberately take you off the campaign trail in multiple salacious cases that on appeal would probably get overturned anyway. We're enabled to do that because we're the uniparty. It's all very much on purpose. They want you to know, to all of the other commentators out there right now that are saying, oh my God, it's terrible, and that's what they want. They want you to know that.
Right. They want you to know it. They want you to know just how fucking corrupt the system is right now. It's a good diagnosis of the problem. Right. Make people afraid of us, and we'll steal the election, and there's not a whole lot they can fucking do about it. And by the way, they're not really paying that well attention, so don't worry about it, right? So thank you, Sticks, Hex, and Hammer. That was good stuff. Let's quick look at the markets. And where are we? NASDAQ is, everything went green. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 50. Let me give this a little click here. Dow Jones up 50, NASDAQ up 15, S&P 500 green. Everything's green right now. Can't complain. Stop complaining. Everything's up. And what else? So that's Sticks, X, and Hammer spin. Let's watch MSNBC spin it the other way. Watch them spin it the other way, right? You don't know what you're talking about. We know what we're talking about. Listen to us. the fucking angry suits tell you what's really going on. Listen.
Federal prosecutor Glenn Kirshner, who was inside watching the proceedings. Glenn, tell us what you saw and heard, because we were all struck by Judge Chutkan's no-nonsense handling of the defense arguments, and that they maybe argued too much and went a little too far in arguing for a 2026 trial date.
See, before you look at this, right, you have to proceed one step in front of it. Why is there how did a grand jury come to the conclusion that Trump could or possibly could be guilty of election interference on January 6th? How is that even possible? Well, you go to Washington, D.C., you find an area in Washington, D.C. with the most radical Trump derangement syndrome fucking animals, people that just hate Trump, right? The people that, I fucking hate Trump. You go into a liberal stronghold area, right? And you round up 50 of the most radical fucking people on the planet that hate Trump. And then you present them with evidence that Trump is a bad guy. And what do? They say, they indict. Right? The grand jury can find, they indict based on that evidence. So that's what you're really looking at. You're looking at prior to the trial, prior to the indictments, is how the parties organize, how they get together, how they put together these witch hunts. Right? Hold on a second. All right. So you go to D.C., you find the most radicalized areas that hate Trump. You put together a grand jury based on that pool, and then you indict Trump, and then you move forward. And that's where you are now. Now the mainstream media and the government has everything they need to put on their show trial. Do all these people on this panel believe that Trump is guilty? No. They kind of sort of believe in government, right? That in their mind, it couldn't possibly be what we think it is, which is, that Trump is innocent and all these people are right and we're fucking wrong. It is possible.
Yeah, I think Judge Chutkan gave them every opportunity to come back with another proposed trial date that would be more realistic than April 2026, and the defense steadfastly refused to do it. I'll say, Andrea,
that's your judge right there. There she is, black woman judge. I hate fucking Trump. He's a racist.
Started with a very straightforward, methodical recitation of how much discovery has already been provided by.
See, if you're a black woman, you hate Trump too, right? See how the messaging it's in there? I'm a black woman. You hate me because I'm a black woman. No, I hate you because you're stupid and you're on the fucking payroll.
The prosecutors, and we learned today that discovery is complete. The fifth batch, the final batch, has already been delivered to the defense. The prosecutors talked about how they organized it, how they did keys so that the defense teams would know exactly where to look, how these were searchable records that were provided by the government. And then the lead defense counsel, John Lauro, sort of stood up. He started loud, and he only got louder. Now, he was passionately arguing that he and his team need more time to prepare than the January 2nd proposed trial date from Jack Smith and his team. But the judge had to twice.
See, they're talking about the legal jargon, right? They get you tied into, well, then the judge is doing what she's supposed to do, and the prosecutors are doing what they're supposed to do, and everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. But the big picture is Jack Smith is a paid hack to go after Trump by organizing a fucking ridiculous grand jury somewhere in the bowels of D.C. behind closed doors without any of Trump's representation there. They hear a one-sided, that's what grand juries do, by the way. They hear one side of the story, the side of the prosecution. So you find the most radicalized people, you present them with Trump is the villain, Trump was involved in election fraud, here's why. And they say, oh, yeah, of course, Trump's a fucking disaster. He's an orange monster. He hates gays. He hates blacks. He hates everybody, right? I don't know. And they say, yeah, of course, he's guilty. And everybody in that situation wins.
Tell him to take the temperature down. That's a quote. And he did, to his credit. But she continued to ask him, Mr. Lauro, please provide me with an alternative, a more realistic proposed trial.
And Ken Delaney, you know, we've noted that this is, of course, the day before Super Tuesday. It's pretty remarkable. That's the Monday before Super Tuesday. And it's right in the middle of the calendar. She was clear in dispelling that. And you have to also wonder whether, you know, the defense attorney was playing to another audience, an audience of one.
There's the senior commentator telling you that the trial was set right before Super Tuesday, and she has no problem with that. No, this is what judges are supposed to do. This is all legal, and there's no longer transparency to it. You would have to be, I don't want to say stupid. A lot of people watch this and believe it because of their Trump derangement syndrome. But I think if you are objective, you would look at this and say Trump federal election interference trial, and you would abroad you would be looking at it like, yeah, they're interfering with the election, all right. They're trying to throw Trump in jail. Right? That's how the world is perceiving this right now. They're trying to throw Trump in jail. Election interference. Right? If you don't understand English, you might, well, half understand English, you would read this Trump federal election interference trial. The trial is election interference.
One, by being that aggressive in the courtroom, because
Zoot Kuda says blacks are waking up quick. Yeah, blacks will go wherever is in their best interest, and of course it's with Trump, right? Because the Democratic Party is about corporate slavery, about doing more for less, whereas Trump was trying to empower the people to get more for themselves, right? Capitalism, right? So blacks understand that. They're not stupid. They lost affirmative action, but they didn't lose their minds.
he knows his client, perhaps. But in this case, the judge is more important than the client.
Oh, the judge is more important than the client. If Trump successfully wins the black vote, then the shit is over, right? Because then you're going to have blacks even saying it. Man, that shit was stolen. Everybody voted for Trump. How the fuck did Joe Biden win in the city? Right? Because they can't lie anymore and say that, oh, yeah, Trump won New York State overwhelmingly. But in the city, that's where he lost, and therefore he lost the state. Right? In New York, for example, or any other state with big cities. The cities are always voting against Trump, or did vote against Trump, allegedly. And the vast majority of the state voted for him. So that's the black vote, they say. Right? The intercity black vote. If Trump wins that vote, wins those people, forget about the vote, because we don't know if the votes are counted. But if he wins the people in those areas, then it's over. Right? Then the charade could really be over. Right? And then they'll start throwing the blacks in jail. Fuck you, man. Well, now we're gonna throw you in jail. Right? You thought shoplifting was legal? Well, not anymore, man. And they start sending all the blacks to jail again.
Agreed, Andrea. And I think what we're seeing here is sort of the collision between this bombastic approach to the practice of law and the realities of the courtroom, where the rules and the
you're an ass. This is Ken Dillon and MSNBC. What an ass. He's talking about the fucking rudiments of inside the courtroom once you're in their court. Right, where they have all the rules and all the say. Right, nobody cares about that. We already know that. It's supposed to be for fucking criminals, to prosecute criminals, people that commit crimes, not someone who stands up and tries to voice election fraud in America. And whether right or wrong, he voiced it, Trump.
Evidence matter. And so...
All right, so you see how the spin is happening. I'm going to kill it there. I'll let go of it. Let go. And we're open. Yeah, market's going up. All right, man. Oh, by the way, I won't be here tomorrow. I have something else to do. So I will see you guys Thursday. Hold on a second. Excuse me. I will see you guys Thursday. Tomorrow I have something else to do, and no program tomorrow. But we'll be here Thursday. We'll be here Friday, and then we'll have a great weekend. So thank you all. I'm going to play a video. Play some of. I did this video, a little piano music by Granny Cat, and it's family clips that I had. I put them together. So enjoy.